Alright, so I've been spending some time with the AYN Thor, and I think it's time we talk about it today. So first things first, and I want to get this out of the way at the beginning of this video, I'm not a tech review channel. AYN did not send me a review unit. I paid for this thing out of my own pocket. I'm just an average guy who happens to have a small collection of retro handhelds. The Nintendo DS is a really nostalgic handheld for me. Hell, before the Steam Deck, it was my favorite handheld of all time. Today I want to talk about the AYN Thor, or AYN, however you say it, and whether or not you should pick this thing up. Because a lot of review channels are gonna show off all the bells and whistles like Android gaming, different uses for the dual screens like watching a movie while you play a video game, or having a guide open on one screen. And let's be honest, the only type of person that's going to buy the Thor has one purpose in mind for it, and that's DS and 3DS emulation. You probably want to know one thing: will it replace my 3DS? I guarantee nobody watching this video cares about if it can play first-person shooters or your Steam library using GameHub or Winlator. And to answer that question, well, maybe. I know I'm going to sound negative in this video, but I think the Thor is a fantastic handheld, but I don't think it's perfect, and there's a few reasons why. First, let's go over the ergonomics, because I feel like this would be the biggest deal breaker for most people. And you probably heard this in every single review, and it's the triggers. These things are god awful. I am telling you. I don't know what they were thinking, but these are the worst triggers I have ever felt on any controller. These things feel like they were made for alien hands, like actual grays from Area 51. Because the sharp edges and the way you have to curl your fingers around these things, there's just no way this was made for human hands. I do not like them, and I try to avoid them as much as possible. The D-pad, it's amazing. The face buttons too. I'd even go as far as to say that the thumbsticks are fine, at least for 3DS games, but not for anything past that. They're just too recessed, and they don't have enough travel to justify anything else past 3DS emulation. So if you decide to pick this thing up, I would say the grip you can bundle with it. It's absolutely mandatory. I didn't end up getting one with mine because I thought it'd be fine, but now I have one on the way. The Thor will cramp your hands. I'm talking more than the Nintendo Switch does. Even the original 3DS is more comfortable than this thing. Second question I'd probably ask is this thing pocketable? And I'd have to say no. It's way too thick and bulky, and it doesn't feel as nice as throwing a small Ambernick in your pocket. This is 100% a couch handheld in my opinion, and I can see that being another deal breaker for people. I know I'm coming off a bit negative, but bear with me. I just want to get the cons out of the way before I get to the pros. The last negative thing I have to say about the Thor, and this really isn't the Thor's fault, it has to do with 3DS compatibility. But forget what you're hearing about every single reviewer. Compatibility is not as smooth as you think it is. Expect to have little micro stutters in just about every single game while it builds shaders. And no, you can't just set this thing to 4x resolution and just forget about it. If you're just using, Azahar like I am, you're probably going to be constantly switching between Vulkan and OpenGL and adjusting your resolution. And I did not grab the light model. I grabbed the base model, which has the same chipset as the other Odin devices. And really, I wouldn't recommend anybody get the Pro model or the midlife crisis model. This has nothing to do with performance. If anything, I would say the Thor is a little bit overpowered, the base model I have for 3DS emulation, and mostly it just has to do with compatibility again. It should get better over time though, and really we're just talking about a minute or two of shader caching, and then you're fine in most situations. I'm just kind of over here shaking my head watching every single reviewer talking about how this handheld is almost perfect with just a few nitpicks. But I can see things like these just being glaring flaws for some people. Yeah, the hinge, it's pretty good. I haven't had any problems with it. The OLED screens, they're jaw-dropping. Almost as good as the Steam Deck OLED. But for a device that costs over $300, I think if you wait, at some point AYN, they'll have like a mid-gen refresh. There'll probably be tons of other dual screens on the market as well. Because for me, I'm really in it for the DS emulation, believe it or not. I know it sounds crazy that I would drop a few $100s just to play a DS-like retro handheld, but I grew up with the DS. I can see myself dumping thousands of hours into games that I never got around to back then. The 3DS, it was great too, but there's not a lot of games from that generation that I haven't already played or I'm super nostalgic for. It's really just a bonus for me. So if you already own a 3DS or a 2DS XL like the one I have here, honestly, I would say just save your money. Unless you're just a die-hard 3DS fan that really wants a premium upgrade. Unless you actually plan on playing your 3DS library consistently, then no, I don't think this is worth it. Maybe just stick to your 3DS or 2DS or whatever. Or if you don't care about form factor or it being authentic and nostalgic, before I bought myself a 3DS, I was playing DS games on a $40 tablet like this one right here. All you have to do is pick yourself up a telescopic controller and turn that bad boy vertical and you got a DS XXXL. This controller I have right here, it's called the GameSir Galileo G8 Plus, and it is one of the most premium and best feeling controllers I've ever held in my hands. I've had tons of fun playing DS games like this, and I was able to achieve this for under $100. But we also have another option if you're willing to wait just a few more months, because Anbernic has their own dual screen right now, the RGDS, and not only is this thing cheap, coming in at just around $100, this thing also looks super lightweight and pocketable, which again, the AYN Thor, while it's not massive, you could definitely fit in your pocket, but this thing is extremely thick and bulky. Plus there's air gaps when you close the lid, so any type of pressure or dust getting in there, and considering how expensive it is, it just gives me too much anxiety to actually use this thing while out and about. Listen, I know I'm gonna sound like a contrarian in this video because every other reviewer is bragging about how much they love the Thor, but I'm just giving my honest opinion. Sure, this thing is awesome, and if it was $100 cheaper, I'd probably be singing a different tune, but I feel like AYN is focused more on being flashy than focused on functionality, which on the opposite side is something I really appreciate about Anbernic. Even though their devices are usually underpowered, 9 times out of 10 they're single-purpose machines, like their GBA and Game Boy clones. They're perfect for Game Boy Advance and color games, and that's about it. And that's exactly what I want. AYN is over here like, look at me, I got analog triggers that feel like shit, and 2 terabyte max models that, you'll never use. So in summary, if you decide to pick this thing up, please, for the love of God, get that grip alongside it. It's not very ergonomic. Also, only get this thing for DS and 3DS emulation, because again, it's just not ergonomic enough for anything else. And don't toss this thing in a backpack or in your pocket. Keep it in a case because it's way too premium and it's just not a pocket handheld. Also, don't expect perfect 3DS emulation across the board because there's still games that probably won't run at all. And the shader stutters, they can get a little bit annoying at times. But like I said, they're not that bad. They happen for like a couple minutes at most when you're first booting up a game. If those things aren't deal breakers for you and you're still interested in the Thor, then yeah, I think it's a fantastic device. Listen, even my favorite handheld of all time, the Steam Deck, has some small annoyances about it that I don't like. But that doesn't mean I don't think it was worth it for me. It's pretty much the skeleton of my channel, what inspired me to start making videos. I just don't want anybody to go out and buy the Thor for all the wrong reasons because some tech reviewer hyped it to the moon. I've been enjoying the hell out of this thing. I'm currently playing Radiant Historia for the first time, and it's such a cool-ass JRPG. But yeah, that's it for me. If you're on the fence about the Thor, I would honestly say wait, because we're getting flooded with dual screens at the moment, and there's bound to be something better just around the corner. Anyways, thanks for watching. Later.